All right, super excited to be here with Mason BenYair. He's a home performance consultant for Ciel. We're here celebrating a very important milestone for the company. The company was named Home Performance with Energy Star Contractor of the Year for the year 2023.
Amazing.
Mason was an instrumental part of us winning this award. Mason, number one, thank you for everything, all of your efforts around this.
Appreciate it. It's my pleasure. It's a pleasure to work here.
We've worked our tails off, quite frankly, for this. If there's one common thread that these interviews have had, it's how much everybody works, how much tenure we have as a staff together, and how much interaction we have, almost to the point of being telepathy at this point. We just know what each other is thinking, in some cases.
That's correct.
So how does this feel? How does working for a company that's been able to achieve this milestone, how does it feel?
Feels great. It feels amazing, really. It just highlights all of the hard work that we've done. And really, it speaks to a lot of your work too, Scott, because you're pioneering the field. You're out there, you put yourself out there, and you're walking the walk. It shows.
It's a team effort. I've had the pleasure of having our auditors sit in that chair. I've had the pleasure of having our administrators sit in that chair. I've had the pleasure of having you sit in this chair. And the one commonality is how closely everybody is working together. Do you agree with that? And do you see that?
Fully. It's great. I know where everyone's head's at prior to anything happening. I can pivot, and everyone pivots with me, with really the finish line in sight on every project.
Yeah. You started to mention a moment ago what sets us apart from some of the other companies that are in this space. In your opinion, based on what you've seen, what does set us apart? How long have you been here? What makes us unique compared to some of the other companies that you see every day when you're out doing this work?
What I really like about this company is the level of involvement. We're all in. Everybody's all in. We live in a sustainable way as much as possible. And I think that's reflected in conversations with customers and, peers as to the level of commitment and involvement. It's interesting to be involved at a very high level to understand what's coming down the pipeline, but also from the ground up to really implement that and tweak it as needed. That's really the goal, right? To fix as many houses as possible.
Yeah.
And to reduce the carbon as much as we can.
Yeah. And I've heard you say that before. What makes you wake up every day and do this job in the way that you do it? And you've been tremendously successful with this job. What drives you?
So it's interesting you mentioned that. So when I was in Columbia, I was in a class called Science of Sustainable Development. And within the class, during my time there, the first 2 years, they were talking about mitigation of carbon in the atmosphere to slow down warming. As that timeline progressed, they switched to adaptation, meaning that there's no way of stopping this train, and we now have to adapt to the changing environment. Now, it doesn't mean that you should stop your efforts to reduce the carbon footprint, but really you should be as responsible as possible and let the other nations catch up.
I agree with you 100%. It was adaptation and resiliency became a theme for several years in a row. We're just going to have to batten the hatches and deal with the consequences of what we created.
Yeah.
But now we're sitting here and we've spent the last several months analyzing this bill, the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah.
And there's still more that needs to be done outside of that bill. But for what we do, that bill is transformative. Can you speak a little bit to that bill and what you think the consequence that it'll have for our customers and for our industry?
I think the biggest impact it will have is the broad reach, the way that it will now bring into the mainstream more of these type of improvements that homeowners can get within their house or achieve in their house, basically, to reduce the amount of energy they're using without changing any of their habits. Because you can't just tell somebody to put a jacket on and turn the heat down, right? They have to be able to maintain the same habits that they have, but save energy at the same time.
And for those of you who don't know this, the Inflation Reduction Act has included a $1,200 a year tax credit for the installation of energy efficiency improvements like what we're talking about today. There's an additional $2,000 per year available for the installation of heat pumps. And then there's a myriad of different programs that will follow that states will lead with the federal funding that the bill provides for them. What are your thoughts on this electrification trend?
I like the trend towards electrification. I think it's a moving train. It's a slow moving train right now. I think there's a ton of efficiencies in generating the electricity and the usable energy far away from your house on the highest level of efficiency scale, rather than having each individual house basically burning a fire in their house and wasting a ton of energy doing so.
And we are at the first time in my lifetime where you could theoretically put a solar array on your roof, an induction stove in your kitchen, a heat pump in your basement to heat your house, and an EV charger in your garage to power your transportation. That's, for me, a profound moment, and I'm honored to be alive, quite frankly, in this moment. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's going to make for a much cleaner environment. I mean, cities are disgusting, right? Just the smog, the fumes. If you can reduce that by a huge factor, then everyone's going to benefit.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So in our meeting earlier today, we talked about how the Home Performance with Energy Star program, which is where we've spent the last dozen or so years of Ciel's tenure, and what we're here to talk about today with being honored with this award, is going to be sunsetting. And that's a sort of a profound thing for us. This is where we spend most of our time working with this program. Can you explain to homeowners what this program's all about, and why they should consider taking advantage of this program over the course of the next 15 months or so while it's still around?
Sure. The Home Performance Program is exactly what it sounds like. How to make your house perform at a higher level. Right now, the incentives are available. You should jump on it. You really should. I mean, regardless of what's coming down the pipeline, if you're going to sell your house later, there's a ton of value adds. But realistically, while you have an opportunity to fix your home based on money that you've already contributed via the community surcharge on your energy bill, you should use it. And now you can go from a regular old house to a highly efficient home, or a green home, or something like that.
Yeah. How do you think the new programs under the Inflation Reduction Act will impact the energy efficiency industry and our work that we do here?
I think they'll drive change. I think that it's broad-based and will open the doors up, as well as the knowledge that needs to be disseminated down to your average person on the benefits of such a program and why it's important.
Yeah. For those who might not know much about home performance, or they might be sitting on the fence trying to decide, should I do the home performance? Should I wait for the Inflation Reduction Act? What advice do you have for somebody who's in that role?
So right now, I feel like we are at a very special time. We are in sort of the sweet spot where we want to be, where you are able to take advantage of multiple programs at the same time. In a way, double dip. And you should take advantage of it while you can. You should really enjoy as much benefit as is available to you, and maximize program incentives, right? You got to use it or else it's gone.
We've been talking a lot in our meetings about this being the first time in history where homeowners actually need to think somewhat strategically. If you're looking to make your house efficient, if you're looking to improve your comfort, if you're looking to lower your energy bills and use less energy, if you really want to maximize everything that's available to you over the next decade, this is the first time where you sort of have to plot that out.
That's right.
And we've been working internally to develop some sort of a system to assist homeowners with that endeavor. What do you have? What are your thoughts around that? When you're talking to homeowners about what their home improvement trajectory is over the next 10 years, what conversations are you having?
The primary thing I suggest to everyone is to make sure that the shell of their house is as solid as possible before you start to think about different energy using devices or anything that you're going to put into the guts of the house. Make sure the box that you live in is as clean of an equation as you can have when it comes to understanding what you need for heating and cooling. Once you have the shell solidified, then you would want to plan out your mechanical systems properly based on what's coming down the pipeline and what this 10-year plan now has to offer. So, for example, you may have a standard home that has two systems, one's heating and cooling system in the attic, one heating and cooling system in the basement, and a existing gas water heater. So with the Inflation Reduction Act's $2,000 tax credit for heat pump systems, you may want to think about a situation where 1 year you do the water heater, you gain the $2,000 credit. The next year you do one of the other systems, get another $2,000 credit, and then you complete that with the third system and get another $2,000 credit. So on top of everything that's out there, on top of any other financing incentives or any other money, you can additionally achieve $6,000 in savings.
Yes. And so it can really yield somebody who owns a home an incredible amount of incentive money to do this strategically versus just going out there and doing it as systems fail, which is what most of us do, or doing it as just sort of a lump sum, willy-nilly, let's just get it all done type of thing. Wrapping this up, what does this award mean to you? What does it mean to your profession? What does it mean to the company that you work for?
I think it's amazing. I think it's all around just speaks to the diligence and the hard work that everyone's put in over the last few years. People have been working incredibly hard over here to all hours of the night to do the right thing. I mean, I sought this company out because I like the way that you guys do business. Mm-hmm. I've seen a ton of other companies in the industry, and the integrity was a big thing for me and a really important thing. So, and I think that's reflected with an award like this, because I know that the home performance program goes deeper than just, surface when they're looking to give these awards out. And I think that, it's well-deserved.
Thank you. And you were an instrumental part of this happening for us. So I want to express my gratitude to you here. And,
I appreciate it.
Everything that you do is contributed to where we are today. So I want to say thank you for that.
Appreciate that.
And thank you for your time. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here with us today.
My pleasure.
If you are available, we'd love to have you come in and be on the Ciel podcast as well. Get your perspective on that.
Okay, I feel like we just did that.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Mason, for being here. And we will see you at your upcoming home energy audit.
Yes.